back to channel, welcome. I just successfully changed the fork seals and reassembled all this, so this video is about how I did it. So this was my first experience doing this job. I checked out, before I got into it, I checked out all the videos on YouTube other people have uploaded, and I'm going to say all of them skip over the most difficult parts. I'm going to show you everything I wish I saw before I got into it. I think this video will be the most helpful you'll find on doing this job if it's the first time for you, because a lot of stuff I had to figure out myself. No one's showing all the difficult bits. Okay, so I'm starting from this stage here. The forks are off my bike, obviously, and disassembled. Check out my previous videos if you're looking to see the whole job. Once you're at this stage, definitely give it a good clean. Make sure there's no bits or nothing on there. You may notice this bottom part of the inner tube is exposed all the time, so it gets rainwater on it, it gets bombarded with grit and stuff. That's likely going to look in worse condition than the rest of it that's always hidden. This one's actually really good. The other one just changed. A little bit pitted, a little bit damaged at the bottom. This one's actually much nicer, but anyway, beware of your brand new fork seals going over crappy, pitted, scratched up bits of tube. It's all gonna, you want to be careful with them, the brand new ones. That's a gentle thing, you want to keep it in good condition. So here's what I did to just ensure my new fork seal doesn't go down over the horrible bit. This one I'm actually not worried about, it's such nice condition, but do this anyway. Just tie something around it, tie a rag around it, just to stop your fork seal accidentally sliding down too far. Do whatever you've got to do with what you've got, but just to show you my little setup has worked out well for me. It's like a portable workbench, folds out and opens up through the middle. So yeah, my suspension goes down, just build it up from the bottom to get it any height I want, and then clamp some wood in, and then this one's not clamped in, so I can easily get bits in and out, and when they're in position they are nice and secure vertically. So let's put some bits on, just double check there's no bits of dust or anything. There's dust all over this workbench, stuck to the wood and stuff. I don't want anything trapped underneath my seal. Okay, so assembling the forks. Okay, so putting the seals in feels like you're doing everything back to front and upside down, because you are kind of, hence the name, upside down forks. So that will be, just imagine that on the other tube, outer tubes going on. So that'll be at the bottom, so that goes on first. That goes on. The metal washer goes, it's like hollowed out, yeah, the metal washer goes against that hollowed out part. So that goes like that. And you've got the spring in there as well. You might want to double check, do your own research, yeah, don't trust me 100% on this. Okay, so this is something I'm going to do. I decided to do, wasn't taught this, wasn't shown it, didn't see it on any videos, but I just felt like it might be a good idea. Just going to rub a bit of fork oil over the outside of this, all the way down the whole thing. It's going to help succeed in what I'm doing next. Just a thin layer, just rub it on with your hand. Cool, right. Double check that was clean, double check it stays clean. What I'm doing next is I'm taking a fresh sealable plastic bag. Doesn't have to be a plastic bag, but just some nice plastic. Learned this from Del Boy's Garage YouTube channel. Thank you, Del Boy. So that's what I want. I want a nice wide sheet of plastic. Just that width is good, but it's way too long, so just find out what I need. Just want it to overlap a bit. Cut it about there. Cool, that's just right. I think oil will do, but if you've got any like rubber grease, it's a bit more slippery in it. That was way too much. Oh my god, come on. Okay, don't put that much on yours. Wrap that around, quite a bit sticking up, about an inch over the top. Proper Yamaha parts, but it's worth looking at anything you get new, double check there's no like defects with it. Again, fork oil around the inside. If there's any of that on camera, apologies if not. Right, now, that's why I have it slack on top, so I can get it in the middle. And then carefully put that there. Not sliding off it. That plastic's not just for that edge and that hole, it's to actually take the whole thing down to closer to the position where I want it. See that? It stays on the plastic and just slides down, and I ain't got to worry about that hole, sharp edge or anything. Here we go. And I will have that plastic back, thank you very much, and use it again for the next piece. Okay, after the dust seal, you may as well drop that round. I think you can get that on and off anyway, but just so it's there. Yeah, next is the oil seal, so that will go that way up, the hollow side up. I can use my plastic again to make sure I get the right way around this way. Goes on, slide it down. And then last but not least, the washer. Just like a lot of washers, it's got a sort of a sharp side and a side with rounded corners. So I'm going to put the rounded corners side against the rubber parts, and the sharp, extra flat metal bit can go against the inside of the edge on the outer tube. Alright, so now the outer tube can go on. There we go. So the washer's drop down in there in position. The oil seal needs to go down there and then get pushed down. Then the clip will secure it in that position. And then last of all, you've got the dust seal, which just sort of pushes in there and holds its place. Okay, so I do recommend buying all the correct tools. It'll make your life much easier. You'll do the job faster and easier. Well worth spending the money. For me, unfortunately, I'm a tight ass, so I like making stuff to save money wherever I can. So I made this. Basically, just got to push that down. And I think the tool to do it is a bit overkill. Like, people are really banging against it. It's just sort of a flexible bit of rubber, a flexible rubber ring that's got to get pushed into its position in a metal casing. I don't think you need that much force, and I was correct with that assumption with the last one I did. So what I did is I found, I'll show it close. So that rubber piece has got to get pushed down a little bit, yeah. So I went to the hardware store and I found a plastic tube, and the measurements I wanted were not as close to the diameter of the inner tube as possible, but actually as close to the inner diameter of the outer tube as possible. I don't want to push down on the piece that's right up against the inner tube. I want to push down around the outside of it. So I found this. This was just too big. So I filed around it. I measured how deep it needs to go. I measured like 10.15 mil or something. So I just scored it at 11 and just went around it. Just filed all the way around it. Then cut it in half. And then I had this piece, which was like for the end of, if you've got like scaffolding pole, you can attach that scaffolding pole to a wall. It was like that, circle. Curve just not quite right, so I chopped up into 4 and then just screwed it on, just so it's a bit of a handle to go on there to give me a bit more oomph pushing it on there. If you are screwing into that, ideally you've got a much thicker piece of plastic to screw into. That's all I could find that was the decent measurement I could use. And obviously don't have anything coming through the other side, not even a little bit, not even a tiny bit. So yeah, they're not in there very tight. But this worked on the last one, so I'll show you it. I'll hopefully be able to show you it working again. So there you go, that goes in. Sit down around the outside. That tool you can buy hammers it in. I'm just pressing it in. Let's have a look. Alright, I'll show you that up close down there. Bit awkward to show you, but you're looking for, you see like a ring for space for that spring to go in all the way around. You want to see that, and then you know you've completed it. So yeah, if you can see that, little groove for the spring, you're pretty good. I'm going to put that in. Be careful the ends of that spring. I don't want it scratching my inner tube. Goes down. You go down. There you go. That's it, mate. And then all that remains is your dust seal. Okay, we're topping up with oil, so unfortunately I've got to let it drop all the way down over the bit I don't want it touching, but here's what it is. Okay, before proceeding, I reckon now is a good time, if you don't have a proper tool, make sure you can pull that inner damper rod up. These pliers don't have any teeth on, they're not ideal, but I can grab it. It's a bit slippery. What's worked brilliant, and in fact what enabled me to complete the job with the other one I finished, was getting this is a whiteboard marker, basically a marker pen, out a tube, cut it, soft plastic in the inside. I literally just pushed that on top, just screwed down gently. It sort of threaded itself on there. Brilliant. So you need, whatever you do, whatever you got to do, you need to be able to pull that up. Okay, so the oil, there's a specific amount of oil. Luckily it's not the amount of oil, it's the distance from the top tube. So I've got my digital calipers, it's 78 mil, yeah? I set them to 78. I set them to 78 exactly, and then, or 77.99 will do. And then what I do is I fill it up and I keep checking it with that. That hits the top tube and I want that to just dip in the oil. I would much rather it just a touch overfilled. And that way, if there's any air bubbles and stuff that are sort of popping in the future, the oil level will drop. Hopefully, I end up with still enough oil in there. I think you're safer just gently overfilling it rather than underfilling it. I'm putting this in, Yamaha G10. Put whatever you want in. I don't like people arguing about oils online. If you want to put different oil in your bike, fine, do it. I don't care. I don't know if you can hear that bubbles popping. Just filed the inside of my pliers to give them a bit of grip, some teeth on there. Oh. As the air bubbles pop in stops, you can feel the damping increase. Put a bit more in, double checking it. Just hitting the endlet. I'm happy with that. That means there's just slightly too much in there, which is like insurance for any air bubbles that are going to reduce the amount. Okay, some information for the noobs, because I didn't know this. Yamaha G10, not important the brand, but the size of it is 1 litre, yeah, and that's just enough for both my dampers. So 1 litre will be what you need per fork seal change on your bike. Okay, spring goes in. One's got bits of dust on it. It's been there about a week. The top, I'm sure the top of that looks slightly narrower diameter. It's not really obvious, but I'm sure it's there. But anyway, that's the top. If you've got a narrower top, it's the top. Drop that in. I'll put my damper rod in now. I don't think, just a straight bar, I don't think there's a top and bottom. That's sinking down. There you go. Don't forget this spring cap goes there. Right, this is the fun bit. This is the really good fun bit. You're going to really enjoy this, this stage of rebuilding your suspension. I'm laughing because I'm taking a piss. It's a fucking nightmare. Just wiping all the old oil off this, and there's an O-ring there. Check and inspect that. That might be something you need to change. Mine looks alright. Thank God, because I don't want to have to wait more days while I wait for one to arrive in the post. But yeah, have a close look at this before you just put it all back together. Right, when I did this on the other one, yeah, like I said, I don't want my fork seal being right at the bottom. We're about to compress it really hard. I really don't want that pushing down right on that lip. So I wrapped this around, but problem with that is problem I caused I didn't foresee is I'm raising that up, and that made it even more difficult to get that top on, which I figured out wasn't possible. So rather than a rag, I just went for a plastic bag, and that protects my fork seal and allows that to drop right down as well. So plastic bag I recommend for this. There you go. So let's just explain what's about to happen. That is in top of that, is inside that, yeah. That thread has to screw down into that. Unfortunately, there's a strong spring in the way. It's got to go a long way down. This is difficult. So yeah, it's a bit fiddly. You just go slowly and carefully. It's far from impossible. I'll show you the whole process, which I have not seen on any other YouTube video, so I'm glad to be able to put this out there. And I'm new to this as well, so if I could do this, you can, definitely. I forgot to do something. Balls. The spring, is you're supposed to measure it, and it's supposed to be 255mm. So your spring should be right there, that long. I think mine's alright. I'm just going to tell myself it was, but yeah, really, you should measure it before you put it in. Okay, this is where I do care a little bit more about this being secure. Not gripping it, not crushing it, just don't want it moving about accidentally. So we're about to put pressure on it. There we go. So back on the ratchet strap. I said in a previous video, I've never even held one of these before, I have no idea how to use it. After doing this job, I'm like got a PhD in ratchet strapology. Why is that gripping? You go a little bit. Okay. When you're pulling these down, that is quite prone to tilting one side or the other. So you've got to keep an eye on it, keep your hand on it literally to stop it doing that and straighten it up if it's going wonky one way or the other. Really, the design of this is wrong. It shouldn't just go flat. It shouldn't just go straight to the end. There should be some sort of either like a dip or preferably something like sticking up to make it impossible for these to slip off the side accidentally, because it is a bit of a liability. That design is what it is. You've got to work with what you got. Right, so let's get into it. So I'll set it up and then we'll so see that straight away. It's pulling this one down. It wants to tilt that down. I want to make sure that stays central. These are tight. I need to adjust this strap before it gets too tight. There you go. Okay, just stopping to show you progress. That's still nice and central. That's really tight though. There's a lot of pressure on that. Handle's leaning down that way a little bit, so just as a bit of insurance. I mean, it holds there. It's all right. I do trust it, but there is a chance that just goes whang, and then that shoots up and hits the roof. So just to stop that happening, that's there. Okay, right. I don't think I need to crush it down a little bit more. Obviously, you might want to look down there. Be careful. Have your hand on it, pushing down before you get your head over the top of it. Yeah, I need to pull it down a little bit more, and then I should be able to get my tube in there and grab hold of the rod and pull it up. So I just extended my tube, a nut on the end of a bit of a thread, just wedged in there. Just there, look. Ish. Right, top of that tube to that piece there. Right, those towels I mentioned earlier. You've got to release that pressure, yeah? So that's gonna snap up there, mind your fingers. This protects my fingers and then stops everything exploding. Right. Get us in position. Shock, so anything that can fall off. Right, to release this. Right, already putting pressure on it and pushing it down, yeah? Just pushing it down. There we go. Nice and controlled. Pull it back up. Watch that O-ring as you close it up. So this is where you find out whether you did everything correct. If not, you're doing the whole job again. Come on. All right.